Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Magnatimirandasya Gyananjana Sarakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yutapatakalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrijatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Visakhanvitamscha हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांता राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरंगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमां विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे जय श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानन्द श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृन्द Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Narayanam Namaskritya, Naram Chaiva Narottamam, Devim Saraswatim Vyasam, Tato Jayamudiraye. Srinvatam Svakada Krishna, Punya Shravana Kirtana, Ridyantasto Yapadrani, Vidunuti Suhritsatam. नष्टप्रायस्वभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवतसेवया भागवति उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी. Before reciting the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the person of Godhead Narayana, unto Narayana Rishi, the supremest human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Shri Vyasadeva, the author. Sri Krishna, the person of Godhead, who is the Paramatma, super soul in everyone's heart and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, cleanses desire for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee who has developed the urge to hear his messages, which are in themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam and by rendering of service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai. Shri Prabhupada ki jai. 3:15:21 Sri Rupini Kvanayati Charanavindam Leelambujena Harisadmani Mukta Dosha Samlakshyate Spatika Kutya Upeta Hemni Sammarjyativa Yadanugrahane Yatnaha. Sri Lakshmi, the goddess of fortune, Rupini, assuming the beautiful form, Vanayati, tinkling, Charana Aravindam, lotus feet, Tilambujena, playing with lotus flower, Harisad Mani, the house of the Supreme Personality, Mukta Dosha, freed from all fault, Samlakshyate, becomes visible, Spatika, crystal, Kudye, walls, Upeta, mixed, Hemni, gold, Samarjati, Iva, appearing like a sweeper, Yat Anugrahane, to receive her favor, Anya, others, Yadna, very much careful. Translation. The ladies in the Vaikunta planets are as beautiful as the goddess of fortune herself. Such transcendently beautiful ladies, their hands playing with lotuses and their leg bangles tinkling, are sometimes seen sweeping the marble walls, which are bedecked at intervals with golden borders, in order to receive the grace of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. In the Brahma Samhita, it is stated that the Supreme Lord Govinda is always served in his abode by many, many millions of goddesses of fortune. Lakshmi Sahasrashata Sambrana Sevyamanam. These millions and trillions of goddesses of fortune who reside in the Vaikuntha planets are not exactly consorts of the Supreme Person of Godhead, but are the wives of the devotees of the Lord and also engaged in the service of the Supreme Person of Godhead. It is stated here that in the Vaikuntha planets, the houses are made of marble. Similarly, in the Brahma Samhita, it is stated that the ground on the Vaikuntha planets is made of touchstone. Thus, there is no need to sweep the stone in Vaikuntha, for there is hardly any dust on it. But still, in order to satisfy the Lord, the ladies there always engage in dusting the marble walls. Why? The reason is that they are eager to achieve the grace of the Lord by doing so. It is also stated here that in the Vaikuntha planets the goddesses of fortune are faultless. Generally, the goddess of fortune does not remain steadily in one place. Her name is Chanchala, which means one who is not steady. We find therefore that a man who is very rich may become the poorest of the poor. Another example is Ravana. Ravana took away Lakshmi, Sitaji, to his kingdom, and instead of being happy by the grace of Lakshmi, his family and his kingdom were vanquished. Thus Lakshmi in the house of Ravana is Chanchala, or unsteady. Men of Ravana's class want Lakshmi only, without her husband, Narayana. Therefore, they become unsteady due to Lakshmiji. Materialistic persons find fault on the part of Lakshmi, but in Vaikuntha Lakshmiji is fixed in the service of the Lord. In spite of her being the goddess of fortune, she cannot be happy without the grace of the Lord. Even a goddess of fortune needs the Lord's grace in order to be happy. Yet in the material world, even Brahma, the highest created being, seeks the favors of Lakshmi for happiness. Yes, Prabhu. Maybe there's two dust particles. Vapishu vidrumatataśvamalam lamritapsu presyanvitani javane tulishibirisham abhyarchati svalakamunna samikshya vaktram uchesitam bhagavate chamatangayachri. Pishu in the ponds, Vidruma made of coral, Tatasu banks, Amala transparent, Amrita nectarian, Apsu water, Preshya Anvita surrounded by maid servants, Nijavane in her own garden, Tulashibi with Tulasi, Isam the Supreme Lord, Abhyarchati worship, Sulakam with her face decorated with tilak, Nasam raised nose. Ikshya by seeing, Bhaktram face, Uchesitam pinkist, Bhagavata by the Supreme Lord, Iti thus, Amata thoughts, Anga all demigods, Yat Shri whose beauty. Translation. The goddess of fortune worship the Lord in their own gardens by offering tulasi leaves on the coral paved banks of transcendental reservoirs of water. While offering worship to the Lord, they can see on the water the reflection on their beautiful faces with raised nose, and it appears that they have become more beautiful because of the Lord's kissing their faces. Purport. Generally, when a woman is kissed by her husband, her face becomes more beautiful. In Vaikuntha also, although the goddess of fortune is naturally as beautiful as can be imagined, she nevertheless awaits the kissing of the Lord to make her face more beautiful. The beautiful face of the goddess of fortune appears in ponds of the transcendental crystal water when she worshipped the Lord with tulasi leaves in her garden. Yanna vrajanta kapido rachananuvadaj stanvanti yenya vishayah kukata matigni yastu shrutaha tabagar niribi attasharas tamstan kshipanchasharaneshu tamashu hanta. Yat Vaikunta, ya, na, never. Prajanti, approach. Agabida, on the of the vanquisher of all kinds of sins. Rachana, of the creation. Anubadat, the narrations. Srinvanti, here, yeah, those who. Anya, other. Vishaya, subject matter. Kukata, bad words. Matigni, killing intelligence. Yaha, which two but. Shrutaha are heard. Hata bagay, unfortunate. Ribi, by men. Atta, taken away. Saraha, values of life. Tan, such a persons. Kshipanti, are thrown. Asharaneshu, devoid of all shelter. Tamashu, in the darkest part of material existence. Hanta, alas. Translation. It is very much regrettable that unfortunate people do not discuss the description of the Vaikunta planets, but engage in topics which are unworthy to hear and which bewilder one's intelligence. Those who have given up the topics of Vaikunta and take to talk of the material world are thrown into the darkest region of ignorance. Purport. The most fortunate persons are the most unfortunate persons are the impersonalists who cannot understand the transcendental variegatedness of the spiritual world. They are afraid to talk about the beauty of the Vaikunta planets because they think that variegatedness must be material. Such impersonalists think that the spiritual world is completely void, or in other words, that there is no variegatedness. This mentality is described here as kukata. Kukatamatigni, intelligence bewildered by unworthy words. The philosophies of voidness and of the impersonal situation of the spiritual world are condemned here because they bewilder one's intelligence. How can the impersonalist and the void philosopher think of this material world, which is full of variegatedness, and then say that there is no variegatedness in the spiritual world? It is said that this material world is the perverted reflection of the spiritual world. So unless there is variegatedness in the spiritual world, how can there be temporary variegatedness in the material world? That one can transcend this material world does not imply that there is no transcendental variegatedness. Here in the Bhagavatam, in this verse particularly, it is stressed that people who try to discuss and understand the real spiritual nature of the spiritual sky and the Vaikunthas are fortunate. The variegatedness of the Vaikunta planet is described in relation to the transcendental pastimes of the Lord. But instead of trying to understand the spiritual abode and the spiritual activities of the Lord, people are more interested in politics and economic developments. They hold many conventions, meetings, and discussions to solve the problems of this worldly situation, where they can remain for only a few years. But they are not interested in understanding the spiritual situation of the Vaikunta world. If they are at all fortunate, they become interested in going back home, back to Godhead. But unless they understand the spiritual world, they rot in this material darkness continually. Haribol, who wants to read next?
Hare Krishna bros, Dandot Pranam, Jai Shri Prabhupada. I can read few verses.
Haribol, yes, Prabhu, thank you so much.
So, text 24. येभ्यर्थिताम् अपि च नो न घृतिं प्रपन्ना ज्ञानं च तत्त्वविषयं सः धर्मं यत्र नाराधनं भगवतो वितरन्नमुष्य सम्मोहिता विततया बतमाययाते. Synonyms: Ye, those persons, abhyartitam, desired, api, certainly, cha, and now by us, Brahma and the other demigods, Nargatim, the human form of life, Prapanna, have attained, Jnanam, knowledge, cha, and Tattva Vishayam, subject matter about the absolute truth, Sahadharmam, along with religious principles, Yatra, where, na, not, Aradhanam, worship, Bhagavata of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vitaranti, perform Amisha of the Supreme Lord, Samohita, being bewildered, Vitataya, all pervading, Bata, alas, Maya, by the influence of the illusory energy. They. Translation. Lord Brahma said, my dear demigods, the human form of life is of such importance that we also desire to have such life. For in the human form, one can attain perfect religious truth and knowledge. If one is in this human form of life, does not understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead and his abode, can you go down, Prabhu? And his abode, it is to be understood that he is very much afflicted by the influence of external nature. So even Lord Brahma is desiring to take birth in this human form of life in earth. Also, I think the same verse is there in somewhere in a fifth canto.
Yes,
The description of Jambu Dweep somewhere. Yeah. And in that verse specifically, Lord Brahma is saying that he wants to take birth in Bharatvarsha actually.
yes,
Yeah.
Prabhu.
But Brahmaji condemns very vehemently the condition of the human being who does not take interest in the personality of Godhead and his transcendental abode Vaikuntha. The human form of life is desired even by Brahmaji. Brahma and other demigods have much better material bodies than human beings. Yet the demigods, including Brahma, nevertheless desire to attain the human form of life because it is specifically meant for the living entities who can attain transcendental knowledge and religious perfection. It is not possible to go back to Godhead in one life, but in the human form, where was I? But in the human form, one should at least understand the goal of life and begin Krishna consciousness. It is said that the human form is a great boon because it is most suitable boat for crossing over the Nissan's ocean. The spiritual master is considered to be the most able captain in that boat, and information from scriptures is the favorable wind for flowing over the ocean of Nisans. Yeah. I remember this was Nrideham Madhyam Sulabham Sturlabham Plavam Sukalpam Guru Karnadharam. Let me take out. It is actually the translation of this one. Uh, yeah, it is 11:20:17. Can you go there, Prabhu? Actually, this is the same verse that Prabhupada is telling. Translation. Can maybe read that verse? It is 11:20:17. Yeah. Nirdehamadhyam sulabham sudurlabham lavam sukalpam gurukarnadharam mayanukulena navasvateritam puman bhavabdim natarets atmaha. It's very important verse. Translation: the human body, which can award all benefit in life, is automatically obtained by the laws of nature. Although it is a very rare achievement, this human body can be compared to a perfectly constructed boat having the spiritual master as the captain and the instructions of the personality of Godhead, means the Vedas, as favorable winds impelling it on its course. Considering all these advantages, a human being who does not utilize this human form to cross the ocean of material existence must be considered the killer of his own soul. So Prabhupada is telling the same in this purport. So you can go back to the third canto, 15th chapter.
Yes, Prabhu. One second. Something weird happened.
It is said that the human form is a great boon because it is the most suitable boat for crossing over the Nissan's ocean. The spiritual master is considered to be the most able captain in that boat, and the information from the scriptures is the favorable wind for floating over the ocean of nescience. The human being who does not take advantage of all these facilities in this life is committing suicide. Therefore, one who does not begin Krishna consciousness in this human form of life loses his life to the influence of the illusory energy. Brahma regrets the situation of such a human being.
So what it was it 11/2017?
11.20.17. Yes.
Yes, Prabhu, carry on.
I think you have entire Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam in that notes. I think each and every verse is covered there.
Not
The
yet,
whole.
Prabhu. Only half,
Yeah.
Prabhu.
Text 25. यच्च व्रजन्तनिमिषं ऋषभानुवृत्त्या दूरे यमा यौपरि न स्पृणीयशीला भर्तुर् भर्तुर्मित सुयश कथनानुराग वै वैल वैलव्यभास्पकलया पुलकीकृताङ्गा. Synonyms: Yat Vaikuntha cha and Vrajanti go Animisham of the demigods, Rishabham chief, Anuvritya following in the footsteps, Dure keeping at a distance, Yama regulative principles, he certainly, Upari above, Na us, Sprihaniya to be desired, Shila good qualities, Bhartu of the Supreme Lord, Mita for one another, Suyasha glories, Kathana by discussion discourses, Anuraga attraction, Vailavya is ecstasy, Baspakalaya tears in the eyes, Purakirta shivering, Anga bodies. Translation: persons whose bodily features change in ecstasy and who breathe heavily and perspire due to the hearing the glories of the Lord are promoted to the kingdom of God. Even though they do not care for meditation and other austerities, the kingdom of God is above the material universes and it is desired by Brahma and other demigods. Purport: it is clearly stated herein that the kingdom of God is above these material universes. Just as there are many hundreds and thousands of higher planets above this earth, so there are many millions and billions of spiritual planets belonging to the spiritual sky. Brahmaji states herein that the spiritual kingdom is above the kingdom of the demigods. One can enter the kingdom of the Supreme Lord only when one is highly developed in desirable qualities. And all good qualities develop in the person of a devotee. That anyone who is Krishna conscious is endowed with 5th canto, 18th chapter. All good qualities developed in the person of a devotee. It is stated in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, 5th canto, 18th chapter, 13th verse, that anyone who is Krishna conscious is endowed with all good qualities of the demigods. Yeah, that verse is Yasyasti Bhakti Bhagavati Akinchana Sarve Gunes Tatra Samasate Sura Harav Abhaktasya Kuto Mahadguna Manorate Nasto Dhavato Bhahi. It's very important verse. Yeah, I'll continue. In the material world, the qualities of the demigods are highly appreciated, just as even in our experience, the qualities of a gentleman are more highly appreciated than the qualities of a man in ignorance or in a lower condition of life. The qualities of the demigods in the higher planets are far superior to the qualities of the inhabitants of this earth. Brahmaji confirms here with that only persons who have developed the desirable qualities can enter into the kingdom of God. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, the devotees' desirable qualities are described to be 26 in number. They are stated as follows: he is very kind, he does not quarrel with anyone, he accepts Krishna consciousness as highest goal, he is equal to everyone, no one can find fault in his character, he is magnanimous, mild and always clean, internally and externally, he does not prof, uh, profess to possess anything in this material world. He is a benefactor to all living entities. He is peaceful, and his soul completely surrendered to Krishna. He has no material desire to fulfill. He is meek and humble, always steady, and has conquered the sensual activities. He does not eat more than required to maintain body and soul together. He is never mad after material identity. He is respectful to all others and does not demand respect for himself. He is very grave, very compassionate, and very friendly. He is poetic. He is expert in all activities, and he is silent in nonsense. Similarly, in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, 3rd Canto, chapter 25, verse 20, the qualities of a saintly person are mentioned. It is said that a saintly person eligible to enter into the kingdom of God is very tolerant and very kind to all living entities. He is not partial, he is kind to both human beings and to animals. He is not such a fool that he will kill a goat Narayan to feed a human Narayan or Daridra Narayan. He is very kind to all living entities. Therefore, he has no enemy. He is very peaceful. These are the qualities of a person who are eligible to enter into the kingdom of God. That such a person gradually becomes liberated and enters the kingdom of God is confirmed in the Srimad Bhagavatam 5th canto, 5th chapter, 2nd verse. The Srimad Bhagavatam 2nd canto, 3rd chapter, 24th verse also states that if a person does not cry or exhibit bodily changes after chanting the holy name of the God without offense, is to be understood that he is hard-hearted, and that therefore his heart does not change even after he chants the holy name of God, Hare Krishna. These bodily changes can take place due to ecstasy when we offenselessly chant the holy name of God, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. It may be noted that there are 10 offenses that we should avoid. The first offense is to decry persons who try in their lives to broadcast the glories of the Lord. People must be educated in understanding the glories of the Supreme. Therefore, the devotees who engage in preaching the glories of the Supreme Lord are never to be decried. It is the greatest offense. Furthermore, the holy name of Vishnu is the most auspicious name, and his pastimes are also non different from the holy name of the Lord. There are many foolish persons who say that one can chant Hare Krishna or chant the name of Kali or Durga or Shiva because they are all the same. If one thinks that the holy name of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, or if one accepts the holy name of the Vishnu to be a material sound vibration, that is also an offense. The third offense is to think of the spiritual master who spreads the glories of the Lord as an ordinary human being. The fourth offense is to consider the Vedic literature such as the Puranas or transcendentally revealed scriptures to be ordinary books of knowledge. The fifth offense is to think that devotees have given artificial importance to the holy name of the Lord. The actual fact is that the Lord is non different from his name. The highest realization of spiritual value is to chant the holy name of God as prescribed for the age. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. The sixth offense is to give some interpretation on the holy name of the God. The seventh offense is to act sinfully on the strength of chanting the holy name of God. It is understood that one can be freed from all sinful reactions simply by chanting the holy name of God. But if one thinks that he is therefore at liberty to commit all kinds of sinful acts, that is a symptom of offense. The eighth offense is to equalize the chanting of Hare Krishna with other spiritual activities such as meditation, austerity, penance, or sacrifice. They cannot be equalized at any level. The ninth offense is to specifically glorify the importance of the holy name before persons who have no interest. The tenth offense is to be attached to the misconception of possessing something or to accept the body as oneself while executing the process of spiritual cultivation. When one is freed from all ten of these offenses in chanting the holy name of God, it develops the ecstatic bodily features which are called pulakashro. Pulaka means symptom of happiness, and Ashu means tears in the eyes. The symptom of happiness and tears in the eyes must appear in a person who has chanted the holy name offenselessly. Here in this verse, it is stated that those who have actually developed the symptoms of happiness and tears in the eyes by chanting the glories of the Lord are eligible to enter the kingdom of God. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is said that if one does not develop these symptoms while chanting Hare Krishna, it is to be understood that he is still offensive. Chaitanya Charitamrita suggests a nice remedy in this connection. There it is said in verse 31, chapter 8 of Adi Leela, that if anyone takes shelter of Lord Chaitanya and just chants the holy name of Lord Hare Krishna, he becomes free from all offenses. Very important for but many references it has been given. Yeah, text 26. तद्विश्वगुर् अधिकृतं भुवनैकवन्द्यं दिव्यं विचित्रविबुधाग्यविमानशोचि आपु परं मुदन मुदमपूर्वमुपेत्य योग मायाबलेन मुनयस्तदथो विकुण्ठम्. Synonyms. Tat, then, Vishwaguru, by the teachers of the universe, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Adhikritam, predominated, Bhuvana, of the planets, Eka alone, Vandyam, worthy to be worshipped, Divyam, spiritual, Vichitra, highly decorated, Vibhudya, Agya, of the devotees who are the best of the learned, Vimana of the airplanes, Sochi illuminated, Apu attained, Param the highest, Mudam happiness, Apurvam unprecedented, Upetya having attained, Yogamaya by spiritual potency, Balena by the influence, Munaya the sages, Tat Vaikuntha Atho that, Vikuntham Vishnu. Synonyms, translation. Thus the great sages Sanaka, Sanatana, Sanandana and Sanat Kumara, upon reaching the above mentioned Vaikuntha in the spiritual world by dint of their mystic yoga performances, perceived unprecedented happiness. They found that the spiritual sky was illuminated by highly decorated airplanes piloted by the best of devotees of Vaikuntha and was predominated by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Purport. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is one without a second. He is above everyone. No one is equal to him, nor is anyone greater than him. Therefore, he is described here as Vishwaguru. He is the prime living entity of the entire material and spiritual creation, and is Bhuvanai the only worshipable personality in the three worlds. The airplanes in the spiritual sky are self-illuminated and are piloted by great devotees of the Lord. In other words, in the Vaikuntha planets, there is no scarcity of the things which are available in the material world. They are available, but they are more valuable because they are spiritual and therefore eternal and blissful. The sages felt an unprecedented happiness because Vaikuntha was not predominated by an ordinary man. The Vaikuntha planets are predominated by expansions of Krishna who are differently named as Madhusudana, Madhava, Narayana, Pradyumna, etc. These transcendental planets are worshipable because the personality of Godhead personally rules them. It is said here that the sages reached the transcendental spiritual sky by dint of their mystic power. That is the perfection of the yoga system. The breathing exercise and disciplines to keep health in proper order are not the ultimate goal of yoga perfection. The yoga system as generally understood is Ashtanga Yoga or Siddhi, eightfold perfection in yoga. By the dint of perfection in yoga, one can become lighter than the lightest and heavier than the heaviest. One can go wherever he likes and can achieve opulences as he likes. There are 8 such perfections. The rishis, the 4 Kumaras reached Vaikuntha by becoming lighter than the lightest and thus passing over the space of the material world. Modern mechanical space vehicles are unsuccessful because they cannot go to the highest region of this material creation, and they certainly cannot enter the spiritual sky. By the perfection of the yoga system, one cannot one cannot only travel through material space, but can surpass material space and enter the spiritual sky. We learn this fact also from an incident concerning Durvasa Muni and Maharaj Amrisha. It is understood that in 1 year, Durvasa Muni traveled everywhere and went into the spiritual sky to meet the Supreme Personality of Godhead Narayan. Yeah, I think when Durvasa Muni was being chased by Sudarshana, no, the incidents happened between Maharaj Ambrish and Durvasa Muni. When the Durvasa Muni he offended the Ambrish Maharaj, he was the devotee of Lord, and then he got chased by the Sudarshan Chakra of the Lord. Then he went even to spiritual sky to, no, to ask forgiveness.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah. By present standards, the scientists calculate that if one could travel at the speed of light, it would take 40,000 years to reach the highest planet of the material world. But the yoga system can carry one without limitation or difficulty. The word Yoga Maya is used in this verse. Yoga Maya Balena Vikuntham. The transcendental happiness exhibited in the spiritual world and all other spiritual manifestations. There are They are made possible by the influence of Yoga Maya in the internal potency and the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Text 27. Tasmin atityamunaya satasajjamana kaksa samana vayasa atha saptamayam deva achakshata grihita gadau paradhya keyura kundala kirita vitanka veshav. Synonyms: Tasmin, in that Vaikuntha, Aditya, after passing through, Munaya, the great sages, Sat, 6, Asajjamana, without being much attracted, Kaksha, walls, Samana, equal, Vayasav, age, Atha, thereafter, Saptam, Ayam, at the seventh gate, Devo, to Vaikuntha, doormen, Achakshata, saw, Grihita, carrying, Gadau, messes, Para, Pararadhya, most valuable, Keyura, bracelets, Kundala, earrings, Kirita, helmets, Vitanka, beautiful, Veshav, garments. Translation: After passing through the six entrances of Vaikuntha Puri, the Lord's residence, without feeling astonishment at all the decorations, they saw at the seventh gate two shining beings of the same age, armed with maces and adorned with most valuable jewelry, earrings, diamonds, etc. So the four Kumaras, they saw Jay and Vijay. Yeah. Purport. The sages were so eager to see the Lord within the Vaikuntha Puri that they did not care to see the transcendental decorations of the six gates which they passed by one after another. But at the seventh door, they found two doormen at of the same age. The significance of the doormen's being of the same age is that in the Vaikuntha planets there is no old age. So one cannot please go down. No. So one cannot distinguish who is older than whom. The inhabitants of the Vaikuntha are decorated like the Supreme Personality of Godhead Narayan with Shankha, Chakra, Gada and Padma, conch, well, club and lotus. Haribol. If someone else wants to continue, any duties are there. Haribol, Hare Krishna. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu Standard, Pranam Jai Shri Prabhupada. Thank you for joining. Thank you, Dheeraj Prabhu, for reading also. And who wants to continue?
Hare Krishna.
Prabhu? Okay, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Please continue, Siddharth Prabhu.
Thank you. Mata dire pa wana malay kaya nimintaw. विनयस्त याशिला चालुष्टभौमध्ये वक्त्रां भ्रुवा कुटिलाया स्फुटा निर्गामाभ्याम् रक्तेक्षणेन च अनागरभासां दधनौ matta intoxicated Vireba Bhis Vana Malikaya with a garland of fresh flowers Nivita hanging on the neck Vinastaya placed around Asita blue Chatushtaya four Bahu hands Madhye between Vaktram face Dhruva with their eyebrows Pitilaya arched Sputa snorting Nirgabhyam breathing Rakta reddish Ekasnena with eyes Cha and Manak somewhat Ravasam agitated Tadhanau glanced over. Translation The two doormen were garlanded with fresh flowers which attracted intoxicated bees and which were placed around their necks and between their four blue hands. From their arched eyebrows, discontented nostrils, and reddish eyes, they appeared somewhat agitated. Purport Their garlands attracted swarms of bees because they were garlands of fresh flowers. In the Vaikuntha world, everything is fresh, new, and transcendental. Inhabitants of Vaikuntha have bodies of bluish color and four hands like Narayana. Verse 29 Dvarye etyor nivishur mishator aparshutva पूर्वायत पुरता वज्रकपाटिकयः सर्वत्र सर्वत्र सर्वत्रतेष्वमया मुन्याश्वदृष्ट्या यस्सञ्चरते अविता विगताभिशान्तकः Dwari in the door, Etoyoho, both doorkeepers, Nivishuhu entered, Mishatoho while seeing, Apristva without asking, Puravaha as before, Yataha as Purata made of gold, Vajra and diamond, Kapatika Kapatikaha the doors, Yaha which, Sarvatra everywhere, they, Avishmaya without any sense of discrimination, Punayaha the great sages, Swadrishya out of their own will, Ye who Sancharanti move, Avitaha without being checked, Vigata without Abhishanka doubt. Translation The great sages, headed by Sanaka, had opened doors everywhere. They had no idea of ours and theirs. With open mind, they entered the seventh door of their own will, just as they had passed through the six other doors, which were made of gold and diamonds. Purport The great sages, namely Sanaka, Sanatana, Sananandana, and Sanat Kumara, although very old in years, maintained themselves eternally as small children. They were not at all duplicitous, and they entered the doors exactly as little children enter places without any idea of what is to trespass. That is a child's nature. A child can enter any place and no one checks him. Indeed, a child is generally welcome in his attempts to go to places. But if it so happens that a child is checked from entering a door, he naturally becomes very sorry and angry. That is the nature of a child. In this case, the same thing happened. The childlike saintly personalities entered all the six doors of the palace, and no one checked them. Therefore, when they attempted to enter the seventh door and were forbidden by the doormen who checked them with their sticks, they naturally became very angry and sorrowful. An ordinary child would cry, but because these were not ordinary children, they immediately made preparations to punish the doorman, for the doorman had committed a great offense. Even to this day, a saintly person is never checked from entering anyone's door in India. Verse 30. Tan Vikshavata Rashanamas Chatura Kumaran Vridhan Dasharada Vayaso Vidittama Tatvan Vetrena Chakshalayatam Atad Aranamastau Tejo Vihasya Bhagavat Pratikulashilau Tan them Vikshaya after seeing Vatarashanan naked Chaturaha 4 Kumaran boys Vridhan aged Dasha Aradha 5 years Vayasha, Vayasaha appearing as of the age Vidita had realized Atmatwan, the truth of the self, Vitrena with their staffs, Cha also Akshalayatam forbade, Et Atat Aharanan, not deserving such from them, thou those two porters, Tejaha glories, Vihasya disregarding the etiquette, Bhagavat Pratikula Shilav, having a nature displeasing to the Lord. Translation: the four boy sages who had nothing to cover their bodies, but the atmosphere looked only 5 years old, even though they were the oldest of all living creatures, and had realized the truth of the self. But when the porters who happened to possess a disposition which was quite unpalatable to the Lord saw the sages, they blocked their way with their staffs. Despising their glories, although the sages did not deserve such treatment at their hands. Purport: the four sages were the firstborn of Brahma. Therefore, all other living entities, including Lord Shiva, are born later and are therefore younger than the four Kumaras. Although they look like 5-year-old boys and travel naked, the Kumaras were older than all other living creatures and had realized the truth of the self. Such saints were not to be forbidden to enter the kingdom of Vaikuntha, but by chance the doorman objected to their entrance. This was not fitting. The Lord is always anxious to serve sages like the Kumaras, but in spite of knowing this fact, the doorman astonishingly and outrageously prohibited them from entering. Text 31. Tabhyam animeshu nishidyamanaha swa arahatama hi api hare pratistara pabhyam uchu uchuha suhritama didrikshita bhangas ishat कामांजु कामानुजेन सहसता उपलुप्ताक्षः tabhayam by those two porters mishatsu while looking on animesheshu demigods living in Vaikuntha nishidhyamanaha being forbidden Suharatamaha by far the fittest persons, he api although Harehe of Hari, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Pratihara Pabhyam by the two doorkeepers, Uchuhu said, Sruhutama, most beloved, Didgrikshita, eagerness to see, Bhanke, hindrance, Ishat, slight Kama Anujena by the younger brother of lust, anger. Sahasa suddenly, they, those great sages, Upala, Upapluta, agitated, Akshaha, eyes. Translation: although they were by far the fittest persons when the Kumaras were thus forbidden entrance by the two chief doorkeepers of Sri Hari, while while other divinities looked on, their eyes suddenly turned red because of anger due to their great eagerness to see their most beloved master, Sri Hari, the personality of Godhead. Purport: according to the Vedic system, a sannyasi, a person in the renounced order of life, is dressed in saffron colored garments. This saffron dress is particularly a passport for the mendicant and sannyasi to go anywhere. The sannyasi's duty is to enlighten people in Krishna consciousness. Those in the renounced order of life have no other business but preaching the glories and supremacy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, the Vedic sociological conception is that a sannyasi should not be restricted. He is allowed to go anywhere and everywhere he wants, and he is not refused any gift he might demand from a householder. The four Kumaras came to see the Supreme Personality of Godhead Narayana. The word Suhrutama, best of friends, is important. As Lord Krishna states in the Bhagavad Gita, he is the best friend of all living entities. Through Suhridam Sarvabhutanam. No one can be greater well-wishing friend to any living entity than the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is so kindly disposed towards everyone that, in spite of our completely forgetting our relationship with the Supreme Lord, he comes himself sometimes personally as Lord Krishna appeared on this earth, and sometimes as his devotee the four sages had no other business, and therefore to restrict them from entering the palace was not apt. In this verse, it is figuratively stated that the younger brother of desire suddenly appeared in person when the sages were forbidden to see their most beloved personality of Godhead. The younger brother of desire is anger. If one's desire is not fulfilled, the younger brother anger follows. Here he can mark that even great saintly persons like Kumaras were also angry, but they were not angry for their personal interests. They were angry because they were forbidden to enter the palace to see the personality of Godhead. Therefore, the theory that in the perfection stage one should not have anger is not supported in this verse. Anger will continue even in the liberated stage. These four mendicant brothers, the Kumaras, were considered liberated persons, but still they were angry because they were restricted in their service to the Lord. The difference between the anger of an ordinary person and that of a liberated person is that an ordinary person becomes angry because of his sense desire not being fulfilled, whereas a liberated person like the Kumaras become becomes angry when restricted in the discharge of duties for serving the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The previous verse, it has been clearly mentioned that the Kumaras were liberated persons. Vidat, Vidittama Tattva means one who understands the truth of self-realization. One who does not understand the truth of self-realization is called ignorant. But one who understands the self, the super self, their interrelation and activities in self-realization is called Vidittama. Prabhu, could you scroll over? Thank you. Vidittama Tattva. Although the Kumaras were already liberated persons, they nevertheless became angry. This point is very important. Becoming liberated does not necessitate losing one's sensual activities. Sense activities continue even in the liberated stage. The difference is, however, that sense activities in liberation are accepted only in connection with Krishna consciousness, whereas sense activities in the conditional states are enacted for personal sense gratification. Should I continue, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu, if you want, you can read 2 more verses, then we go to Shastakam prayers.
All right.
Prabhuji, can I continue?
Oh,
Okay,
yes.
yeah, go on, Prabhu, go on. Thank you for the chance, Prabhu.
Thank you so much for reading, Prabhu.
632. Munaya Uvacha. Munaya Uvacha. Ko vam iha ita bhagavat paricharya yo chais tadharmai dharminam nivasatam vishrama svabhava tasmin prasanta purushe gata vigraheyam ko vatmanvat manvat kuhakayo parisankhya. Synonyms. Many of the great sages Uchu said, Kaha who Vam to you too. Yeah, in Vaikuntha, Etya having attained Bhagavat of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Paricharyaya, or by the service Uchai, having been developed by pious actions, Dharminam, of the devotees, Satam, dwelling in Vaikuntha, Visma, discordant Swabhava, mentality, Tasmin, in the Supreme Lord, Prashanta Purusha, without anxieties, Gata Vigrahe, without any enemy, Vam of you too, Kaha who, Va or Atmavat like yourselves, Ku, Ha, Kayo, maintaining duplicity, Parisankhya, Kinnaya, not becoming trustworthy. Translation purport by His Divine Grace, Executive and Samshad Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation: The sages said, who are those two persons who have developed such a discordant mentality, even though they are posted in the service of the Lord in the highest position and are expected to have developed the same qualities as the Lord? How are these two persons living in Vaikuntha? Where is the possibility of an enemy coming into the kingdom of God? The Supreme Personality of Godhead has no enemy. Who could be envious of him? Probably these two persons are impostors, therefore they suspect others to be like themselves. Purport: the difference between the inhabitants of Vaikuntha planet and those of material planet is that in Vaikuntha all the residents engage in the service of the Lord Himself and are equipped with all His good qualities. It has been analyzed by great personalities that when a conditioned soul is liberated and becomes a devotee, about 79% of all good qualities of the Lord develop in his person. Therefore, in the Vaikuntha world, there is no question of enmity between the Lord and the residents. Here in this material world, the citizens may be inimical to the chief executives or head of state, but in Vaikuntha there is no such mentality. One is not allowed to enter Vaikuntha unless he has completely developed the good qualities. The basic principle of goodness is to accept subordination to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The sages therefore were surprised to see that the two doormen who checked them for entering the palace were not exactly like the residents of Vaikuntha Loka. It may be said that a doorman's duty is to determine who should be uh, allowed to enter the palace and who should not, but that is not relevant in this matter because no one is allowed to enter the Vaikuntha planet unless he has developed 100% his mentality of devotional service to the Supreme Lord. No enemy of the Lord can enter Vaikuntha Loka. The Kumaras concluded that the only reason for the doormen checking them was that the doormen themselves were impostors. Text 33. नाह्य अन्तरं भगवतीतः समस्तकुक्स्व आत्मानम् आत्मनि नाभो नाभसीव धीरा पश्यन्ति यत्र वयो सुरलिङ्गिनो किं व्युत्पादितं ह्य उदरभेदी भयं यतोऽस्य. Synonyms: not he, because antaram, distinction, Bhagavati, in the Supreme Personality of God. Here, samasta kuksau, everything is within the abdomen. Atmanam, the living entity Atmani in the supersoul Nabha is a small quantity of air Nabhasi within the whole Eva as Dhira, the learned Pashyanti see Yatra in whom you Vayo of you to Suralingino, just like the inhabitants of Vaikunta, Kim how with Paditam awakened developed. He certainly Udara Bedi distinction between the body and the soul, Bhayam fearfulness, Yata fear from Asya of the Supreme Lord. Translation: in the Vaikuntha world there is complete harmony between the residents and the Supreme Personality of Godhead, just as there is complete harmony space within space between the big and the small skies. Why then is there seed of fear in this field of harmony? These two persons are dressed like inhabitants of Vaikuntha, but wherefrom can their disharmony may come into existence? Purport: just as there are different departments in each state, in this material world, the civil department and the criminal department, so in God's creation there are two departments of existence. As in the material world, we find that the criminal department is far, far smaller than the civil department. So this material world, which is considered to be the criminal department, is one-fourth of the entire creation of the Lord. All living entities who are residents of the material universes are considered to be more or less criminals because they do not wish to abide by the order of Lord or they are against the harmonious activities of God's will. The principle of creation is that the Supreme Lord, the personality of Godhead, is by nature joyful, and he becomes many in order to enhance his transcendental joy. The living entities, like ourselves, being part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, are meant to satisfy the senses of the Lord. Thus, whenever there is discrepancy in that harmony, immediately the living entity is entrapped by Maya or illusion. The external energy of the Lord is called material world, and kingdom of the internal energy of the Lord is called Vaikuntha or the kingdom of God. In the Vaikuntha world, there is no disharmony between the Lord and the residents. Therefore, the God's creation in the Vaikuntha world is perfect. There is no cause of fear. The entire kingdom of God is such a completely harmonious unit that there is no possibility of enmity. Everything there is absolute, just as there are so many physiological constructions within the body, yet they work in one order for the satisfaction of the stomach, and just as in machine there are hundreds of thousands of parts, yet they run in harmony to fulfill the function of machine. In the Vaikuntha planets, the Lord is perfect, and the inhabitants are also perfectly engaged in the service of the Lord. The Mayavadi philosophers, the impersonalists, interpret this verse of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam to mean that the small sky and the big sky are one, but this idea cannot stand. The example of the big sky and the small skies is also applicable within a person's body. The big sky is the body itself, and the intestines and the other parts of the body occupy the small sky. Each and every part of the body has individuality, even though occupying a small part of the total body. Similarly, the whole creation is the body of the Supreme Lord, and we created beings or anything that is created are but a small part of that body. The parts of the body are never equal to the whole. This is never possible. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is said that the living entities who are parts and parcels of the Supreme Lord are eternally parts and parcels. According to the Mayavadis philosophers, the living entities an illusion considers himself to be part and parcel, although he is actually one and same as the supreme whole. This theory is not valid. The oneness of the whole and the part is in their equality. The qualitative oneness of small and large portion of the sky does not imply that the small sky becomes the big sky. There is no cause for the politics of divide and rule in the Vaikuntha plants. There is no fear because of the united interest of the Lord and the residents. Maya means disharmony between the living entities and the Supreme Lord, and Vaikuntha means harmony between them. Actually, all living entities are provided for and maintained by the Lord because He is the supreme living entity. But foolish creatures, although actually under the control of the supreme living entity, defy his existence, and that state is called Maya. Sometimes they deny that there is such a being as God. They say everything is white. And sometimes they deny him in a different way. There may be a God, but he has no form. Both this conception arise from the rebellious condition of the living entity. As long as this rebellious condition prevails, the material world will continue in disharmony. Harmony or disharmony in realization is realization because of the law and order of a particular place. Religion is the law and order of the Supreme Lord. In the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, we find that religion means devotional service or Krishna consciousness. Krishna says, "Give up all other religions and simply become a surrendered soul to me." This is religion. When one is conscious, fully conscious that Krishna is the supreme enjoyer and the supreme Lord, and acts accordingly, that is real religion. Anything which goes against this principle is not religion. Krishna therefore says, just give up all other religious principles. In the spiritual world, there is this religious principles of Krishna consciousness is maintained in harmony, and therefore that world is called Vaikuntha. If the same principles can be adopted here, wholly or partially, then it is also Vaikuntha. So it is with any society such as the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. If the members of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, putting faith in Krishna as the center, live in harmony according to the order and principles of Bhagavad Gita, then they are living in Vaikuntha in the material world.
Haribol. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Okay, now we go to 6 Instagram prayers. Cheto darpanamarjanam bhavamahadavagninirvapanam Shreyah Kairavachandrika Vitaranam Vidyavadu Jivanam Anandam Bhutivardhanam Pratipadam Purnamridasvadanam Sarvatma Snapanam Param Vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtanam.
नामकारी बहुधा निज सर्वशक्तिः तत्रापिता नियमित स्मरणेन कालः एतादृशी तव कृपा भगवन् ममापि दुर्दैवमिदृशमिह जाने नानुरागः
तृणादपि सुनिश्चयेन तरोरपि सहिष्णुना अमानिना मानदेन कीर्तनीया सदा
नदनं न जनं न सुन्दरीं कवितं वा जगदीश कामये मम जन्मनि जन्मनीश्वरे भवताद्भक्तिरहैतुकी त्वयि
अहिनन्दतनुजा किङ्करं पतिता मामिषमे भवाम्बदो कृपया तव पादपङ्कजं शिरदूलसुदृश विचिन्तय
नयनं
नयनं
गलदश्रुधारया वदनं गद्गदाहृदया गिरा पुलकनिशितं वपुः कदा तव नाम ग्रहणे भविष्यति
युगायितं निमेषेण चक्षुषा प्रकृष्य इदं शून्य इदं जगत्सर्वं गोविन्दविरहेण मे
आश्लिष्य वा पादरतां नष्टमाम् अदर्शनान् मर्महतां करोतु वा यथा तथा विधातु लम्पट्टो मत्प्राणसुनैव नापरः
हरिबोल ओ हरे कृष्ण गौर शक्ति प्रभु तंदा प्रणाम जय श्री प्रभुपाद
Hare
Hare
Krishna, Shri
Krishna,
Prabhu,
dear
Jai Shri
Prabhus.
Prabhupada.
Yeah, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
how is cooking services going, Prabhu? Have you
I
done?
was with the reading service now. I just
Oh,
finished. Yeah. And
very
now
nice.
I want to cook. Yeah, I want to cook something for my son because
Is
he's
there
with
any new
me. And
people?
what?
Is there any new people in the reading session?
Uh, yeah. Those session now is quite new because I'm reading the Krishna book.
Yes, Prabhu.
So sometimes there will be new person who will join, but still I'm doing it for the devotee here in Reunion Island most.
Oh, yes, Prabhu.
But there is also some devotee who came here, and one particular Mataji, and she is in another island now, and she want to come here to live here in Reunion Island. She will probably be a devotee after sometimes join
Oh,
us,
Haribol.
but um, she's in another island, and she also follow the reading session now. So yeah, mostly I will do it for the devotee, but yes, of course, sometimes there will be some um, like person who will join, just like the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam.
Yes, Prabhu.
So this session is just like the Vaishnava Sangha group. I just try to make sure that the devotee are hearing and our connection also in Reunion Island. Because when we read something together, or even if you don't read, you hear, then this is nice association, just like this reading session. Sometimes we will hear a lot, others read, and this is also a nice association.
Yes.
We don't need to read. We just need to hear, and it's nice. This is not only for purifying ourselves, but this is also to have a nice association with all the Prabhus, all the devotee, So yeah, this is the purpose of this reading session. That's why I can't skip now, I must keep going, This is very important actually.
Yes, Prabhu, this is a really nice service. Really nice.
Yeah. Thank you. You too. You do a very nice service also
No problem.
by hosting this reading session. Now there are 8 devotees now, so really nice. Haribol,
Yes,
Prabhu.
thanks
for
for all
doing
the
your
devotees for
service.
joining every day. It's really nice.
Haribol.
Okay, who wants to read this translation?
Glory
I
to
can
Sri
start.
Krishna Sankirtana, which cleanses the heart of all dust accumulated for years and extinguishes the fire of conditional life of repeated birth and death. This Sankirtana movement is a prime benediction for humanity at large because it spreads a rays of benediction moon. It is a life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss and it enables us to fully taste the nectar for which you are always anxious.
O my Lord, your holy name alone can render all benediction to the living beings. And thus you have hundreds and millions of names like Krishna and Govinda. In these transcendental names, you have invested all your transcendental energies. There are not even hard and fast rules for chanting these names. O my Lord, out of kindness, you enable us to easily approach you by chanting your holy names. But I am so unfortunate that I have no attraction for them.
One should chant the holy name of.
You continue, bro.
One should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than a straw in the street. One should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sins of all streets, and ready to offer all respect to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly.
Oh, Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor do I desire beautiful women, nor do I want any number of followers. I only want your causeless devotion service after birth.
O son of Maharaja Nanda Krishna, I am your eternal servitor, yet somehow or other I have fallen into the ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up from this ocean of death and place me as one of the atoms at your lotus feet.
Oh my Lord, when will my eyes be decorated with tears of love flowing constantly when I chant your holy name? When will my voice choke up, and when will the hairs of my body stand on end at the recitation of your name?
Oh Govinda, feeling a separation, I'm considering a moment to be like 12 years or more. Tears are flowing from my eyes like torrents of rain, and I'm feeling all vacant in the world in your absence.
I know no one but Krishna is and he shall remain so even if he handles me roughly in his embrace or makes me brokenhearted by not being present before me. He is completely free to do anything and everything, for he is always my worshipful Lord unconditionally.
Haribol, Shri Siksastakam ki jai, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai.
Jai.
Baujanma Karayati Shavana Kirtan Tabutana Paya Krishna Pade Premadan. If one is infested with the 10 offenses in the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, despite his endeavor to chant the holy name for many births, he will not get the love of God. That is the ultimate goal of this chanting. The 10 offenses against the holy name are as follows. The first offense is to blaspheme the devotees who have dedicated their lives for propagating the holy name of the Lord.
Second offense is to disobey the orders of the spiritual master. Sorry, to consider the names of demigods like Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma to be equal to or independent of the name of the Lord Vishnu.
Third offense, to disobey the orders of the spiritual master.
Fourth offense, to blaspheme the Vedic literature and consonants of the Vedic version. Fifth offense is to consider the glories of chanting Hare Krishna to be an imagination.
Sixth offense is to give some undone interpretation to the holy name of the Lord.
Seventh offense, to commit sinful activities on the strength of the holy name of the Lord.
Eighth offense is to consider the chanting of Hare Krishna to be one of the auspicious ritualistic activities offered in the Vedas as fruitive activities, karma kanda.
Ninth offense, to instruct a faithless person about the glories of the holy name.
Tenth offense, to not have complete faith in the chanting of the holy names and to maintain material attachments even after understanding so many instructions on this matter. It is also an offense to be inattentive while chanting. Every devotee who claims to be a Vaishnava must guard against these offenses in order to quickly achieve the desired success, Krishna Prema. Now let us offer our respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. They can fulfill desires of everyone just like the desired trees, and they are full of compassion to the fallen conditioned souls. Vansha kalpatarupesha kripa sindhubhya patatanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha.
Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha.
Anantakoti Vaishnavinda ki jai.
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 Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Jai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol.
Hari
Hari
Bol.
Hari Bol.
Thank you for hosting the session, Swami Prabhu.
Very nice
Is
to
there
hear that.
someone who knows the 10 offenses